Hello, my name is Zach, and this is your daily news about Mexican Americans throughout World War II. Throughout the war, many Mexican Americans began to question whether or not joining the army was generally worth the cause. Many asked themselves, why would they fight for America if they aren't treated as Americans? The war was a time for hardships and opportunities. Many Mexican Americans initially received a lot of opportunities throughout the war. There was a lot who joined the U.S. military in order to serve and defend their country. This does put their lives at risk, but in turn, many received Congressional Medals of Honor. This also allowed for the Bracero program to be created, which employed Mexican citizens and brought them into the U.S. for work. This is a risk many Mexican Americans took in order to give their families a proper life in the United States. They mainly mobilized farm labor and railroad work. Though this may seem like a decent story for Mexican Americans, their hardships followed just as close. Many Mexican Americans had poor living conditions by living in shacks and that can't even fit a whole family. They were racially segregated and were not treated fairly to the whites. They were also attacked in violent mobs during the Zoot Suit riots by white servicemen. It was a rough it was rough living as a Mexican American. Now we cut to a live interview.
Throughout the war, many Mexican Americans began to question whether or not joining the war was worth their cause or not. Many opportunities and hardships were experienced during this war. Today, we are going to be interviewing a Mexican American on their hardships and opportunities that they experienced during the war. So, what were some of the hardships that you experienced?
Some hardships that I experienced were living in rough conditions, our neighborhoods, and we experienced a lot of segregation and racism. Yeah.
So, what were some of the hardships experienced during the war?
Well, we had a lot of racism to endure. We had very bad living conditions. I mean, it was just very hard life for us, and it's just very hard right now for us. And there's also been attacks on us for the clothes we wear. People have been beating us down. I'm sorry. Okay.
Take your time. So, talk to us about your experience during the Zoot Suit riots.
During the Zoot Suit riots, we got mobbed and attacked by white servicemen only because of our race and the clothes that we were wearing.
The war brought on a lot of hardships during this time, but there were also a lot of opportunities presented to Mexican Americans. What were some of the opportunities presented during this time?
Some opportunities where we were able to get drafted and help the U.S. in World War II. It also led to a bunch of Mexican Americans being able to come into America and search for a better life and job opportunities.
What were some of the opportunities that were presented during the war?
Well, during the war, since the government needs more people to shoot guns, they kind of had to, get our help from it also. It's a group effort, all the different races coming together for one cause, for this great country. And then we also got employed a lot into work on the railroads, had to maintain them so that people could, get their trains go, choo, choo, yeah. It's just a lot of hardships, but we also had some good opportunities.
Thank you for your service.
Thank-
So there we have it, folks. That was an inside look into the lives of Mexican Americans during World War II.